Hello, this is Old School from WhatTheBuc.net coming to you with our Day 3 camp review. I just got back in from One Buc Place, and it was hot as hell. This is actually hotter than Africa out there today. When I got to the car, it was 110 degrees, but the team seemed to do a good job of keeping everybody hydrated. I didn't see anyone with cramps. I didn't see anyone going off the field hurt. The people who were out were people we expected. Cadillac was out with that mild ankle sprain, and Joe Buck had reported that he spoke to him, and the Cadillac said he was fine. Kellen was out again today, but Jeremy Stevens was back on the field participating full. And everyone seemed to be doing a good job in general. Now, the practice started out sort of oddly, with Field 1 being the primary field where all of the stands are set up around. And there was a decent showing of fans today. I was very surprised for a Monday, a lot of kids and social organizations out there. They immediately, after they came out originally, did the autograph session, which was huge. A lot of signatures. If you want signatures and you want to get them for your kids, get out there. They went over to Field 2 and Field 3 and did a bunch of warm-up work over there, which is kind of anticlimactic. But eventually, they did get back over to the primary field and start working out. At the very beginning of camp, we had a couple of break-aparts of the squad. We had the receivers running routes, and they varied from quick slants to post corners, etc., just trying to get things loosened up. And they were running some interesting drills where they were running one-hand catches, where they'd go and line up with the left-hand dominant, right-hand dominant, and make the catch. Receivers were looking pretty decent in those drills, all in all, and Michael Clayton continues to look good in camp, but so does everybody else, to be honest. And I'll talk a little bit later about a tweet that Anwar had about Aurelius Ben that I totally disagree with. The secondary was across on Field 3 doing interception drills, and I watched Myron Lewis drop a pick and do exactly what Barrett Ruud did the day before, where he dropped down and gave up push-ups. Another guy after that dropped a pick. Who was it? It was Hanlon, I believe. Who we will not remember the name of, which is why I don't remember his name. He drops the pick and does nothing. I don't know what the rule is on the team, but it was interesting to see the young guy kind of holding up the same thing that Barrett did earlier. Defensive line was over working on footwork and hand work and those sorts of things. All things that are necessary to do. Not a lot of fun to watch necessarily, but definitely necessary to do, and the offensive line was working on sleds. Now, eventually they came back over and started doing some defense-offense drills. We saw the receivers go against the corners, and we watched the receivers manhandle the corners most of the day, or most of the time in that particular drill. Aurelius Ben opened it up, beating Rondé Barber badly on a double move. Rondé ended up coming back on the next time he faced him and jumped in front of the pass for a one-handed pick. I'm not sure if he got his feet down, but it was a hell of a break on the ball and a great catch, even if it wasn't complete. A couple of other guys that kind of shined there. Mike Williams looked good there. Nunn, the darling of yesterday, did not look particularly good. Additionally, who was the other guy? 13, Chris Brooks. Chris Brooks is already gone, or he should be. He looked very, very bad today. And you know, you need people in there for camp, but I would rather see Urruti get more reps, because Urruti has got a lot of physical talent, but he's just not getting the reps. Now, I want to jump ahead a little bit and talk about Aurelius Ben and Anwar's post. While he's not flashing the way Mike Williams is, or the way some people think Mike Clayton is, Aurelius Ben, not only is he physically imposing, and I don't think we're going to see what this guy can really do until he gets to go against the defense where he can break out of tackles and get that yard after catch. His routes are so crisp, it is like watching a clinic. Now, even the other guys that are running decent routes look bad compared. This guy looks like he's got stickum on his feet, and that is what gets you separation. He may not be blindingly fast, but neither is Stovall, right? But his routes are so precise. I really do think this kid's going to only shine when they start bumping heads. The other thing is they did some left side and right side blitz pickups where the defense would try and install a blitz and make that side of the line pick it up. Offensive line did pretty well there, I thought. The guys who've been looking good already still look good. Brian Price continued to look good today. I still don't see any defensive ends looking particularly good. Styles flashed a little bit today. Kyle Moore had a couple of moves, and I saw that fast lineup where they moved Kyle Moore to the tackle position, and they leave Crowder in as well. And that seemed to be fairly productive in the 11-on-11s later. But in the blitz pickups, the blitzes, they're sending linebacker, corners, safeties. Raheem is really kind of mixing things up. I'd love to see what that looks like later on, but sadly we probably won't until we get to regular season. But in general, I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job given what they had thrown at them in that particular drill. Gerald McCoy flashed in that drill, though, against Kedrick Vincent, the guy we brought over from Carolina. He absolutely blew past him, and that's kind of the athleticism that I think people expect out of Gerald McCoy. And I think hopefully as he continues to get his legs underneath him and learn more and more about the system, I think we'll see more and more of that. They did some 9-on-9 sets where they're running play focused, and the guy who flashed there with Cadillac not playing, Derek Ward looked fine, but again, Derek's one of those guys who doesn't necessarily always look good in practice because he's a bit more of a bruising back. He doesn't impress you with his speed. Kareem Huggins continues to impress. Every time he gets the ball, when he hits the hole, he's gone. There were no fumbles today that I saw, so Clifton Smith's okay, but I'll tell you, when you look at the depth chart with Clifton, Spurlock, and Strouder all in there with run-back capabilities, and with Huggins doing what he's doing in the backfield and Spurlock pushing for that last wide receiver spot, I think it's going to be very tough, Pro Bowl or no Pro Bowl for Clifton Smith unless he can hold on to the ball. 11 on 11, Savvy Piscatelli is in position, right? The first play, they try and go 9 route on him, and he's over there, and again, would have absolutely crushed the guy who happened to be Reggie Brown on this particular play. But in that first session of 11 on 11s, I think the defense got the better of things. Josh Freeman continues to stare down receivers, which is it's a consistent problem. If you watch Josh Freeman's head 1 second after the snap, you know where the ball's going. Now, what's interesting, and this was mentioned by some of the fans that were out there around me, when the play breaks down, right, when Josh has to just play instinctually, he looks infinitely better, right? It's when he knows where the primary is, it's almost like he's just staring that guy down, and that's something he's going to have to get around because if we're noticing it, you know the defense is going to. We got to see our kickers out there. Connor Barth came out and did a ho-hum 54-yard field goal that would have been good from probably 60. Lawrence came out afterwards and tried to match that. He did barely, and they let him give a shot at a 56-yarder that went way right. I think Connor looks relatively safe. In other kicking news, Brent Bowden, our draft pick, came in and didn't wow, but he may have been doing directionals. They may have been trying to get him to aim for that, 38-yard distance, but in general, it wasn't particularly impressive. I had heard previously he was impressed, but not particularly today. Again, in the final session of 11 on 11s that we had today, it was fairly interesting. There was a designed rollout for Freeman to his right where he hit Jeremy Stevens coming back into the middle of the field. A very nice play. Freeman looked very good on the move. And the last actual offensive play of that set had Josh Johnson taken to essentially a QB draw, which scored. Now, these were 2 high points of the offense when, to be honest, a lot of the defense looked very good today. And I didn't spend enough time talking about it, but Quincy Black had a great practice today. Geno Hayes was definitely popping out there today as well. When I look at it on the defensive line, I hate to keep harping on Brian Price, but he looked very, very good all day long. Davin Joseph, however, did answer the call with Brian Price and did own him when they faced each other today. Anyone else that Brian Price lined up against, he absolutely destroyed. The comment about Quincy Black, this is one of those things where he's not just doing well in coverage, he's blowing up running plays. The linebackers are starting to look very instinctual in this system, and that's nothing but good for us. So that's really the news. The biggest concerns I have are the quarterbacks are not looking particularly accurate. They did do a drill today where they were throwing balls intentionally behind the receivers. I know that's a normal drill, though I think it's going to be particularly apt for us this year given the accuracy we're showing. I hope that Coach Van Pelt and Coach Olson are working with Josh. I've been impressed with what he's done in the offseason, but right now he's got to put it together on the field, and the accuracy is not there at any level. Though today I must give credit. The passing plays that we did see, though they're still running some drag routes and some quick 4-yard outs and some dump-offs, there were a lot more routes that were going to that intermediate range and a couple that went downfield as well, though they weren't connected on very often. They're at least running those routes. So a good practice. I'll be out there again tomorrow. They're having a special practice I'll be able to do for you guys tomorrow, but it'll be in the evening. And we're actually going to do a show tonight on WhatTheBuc.net, so if you want to come join us at WhatTheBuc.net at 7:30, we're going to do a live training camp recap. We'll do viewer mail and sort of what we call a water cooler show. So if you have questions, get them into questions at WhatTheBuc.net, and we'll cover it tonight at 7:30. Thanks a lot for tuning in.